That's it.
Uh-oh. Happened.
Yeah, hi, Sean.
I think one of our other panelists may have just joined us.
I think we just started the webinar too. Hold on that.
Good.
Oh,
Yep, we're recording.
oh, how did that happen?
Stop recording. Oh, you know, we're just gonna go live right now. Hi everyone, we're still in practice mode, but you know, that's how things go live. So we'll just hang tight. If you guys are logged in for the webinar, just give us a few moments. And you know, if you've got some preliminary questions, you might as well ask them now. You've got most of the enterprise management team here.
You know, Coleman, this is the New York Oracle user group. So who is hosting the coffee and bagels this morning?
Where do you want them delivered to?
That'll be the webcast of the future. As we start it, they come to our door. Great idea.
Great idea. You can pull it out from the screen and it becomes 3D right away. I like that.
I do miss those in-person user group meetings and not just for the free food.
Well, maybe something will happen with viscosity in a small town in the Northeast.
We would love that. You know we would.
I know Steve will come there for bagels.
I certainly will. Again, a number of the regional user groups, as we've called them in the past, the RUGs, have started to reboot. And so I know there are some individuals who are interested in doing that. So definitely let your user community leaders know, and maybe they can start helping put the wheels in motion and getting something rebooted in your region.
Northeast is sometimes challenging because of the, if you read with the occupancy rates of people working remote, it's up there in this region. Other regions may not have that particular issue. You know what I'm talking about?
Understood, Coleman.
Yeah.
Also have been seeing the metric from folks who would actually like to, you know, network and meet with their peers again, which is a extremely valuable item within the user community. Learn from your peers.
Well, we'll definitely work in that direction. I'm sure Viscosity and Oracle will work towards that direction in the Northeast. Looking forward to it.
Well, I do have to mention, Coleman, for any of the NYOUG members who are considering Cloud World that's coming up in September in Vegas, there is that opportunity for in-person meeting with our product management team that's joined us today. So if someone has a peer going there, certainly welcome to meet them there.
We'll reach out to our membership, pass it on to them at the next steering committee.
Looks like about 3 minutes until start time officially.
And counting down, right. Those attendees that are online right now, what you're witnessing is the free of the webinar coming up.
This is a time to be refreshing your coffee and getting ready for the show.
And also get your questions ready. We'll be answering them, put them into Q&A, And as the webinar goes on, we'll be responding to them.
And I'm kind of curious, since we've just got a couple folks in here early, where you guys are from, what part of the US you guys are visiting us from. If you want to drop that in the chat and the Q&A, be nice to see what our coverage here is. I think we are beyond the New York Oracle user group area, typically in these webinars. Hello, Richmond, Virginia. No one else wants to share. That's okay. I'm out in Dallas.
I'm in Connecticut.
Hey, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Steven, Sravanth, where are you guys at?
I'm from. Hey, I'm sorry, I had some issue. I'm from India, Bangalore. If you're familiar
Awesome.
with, yeah.
And I'm from Phoenix, Monica,
I knew that.
where it's a little bit warm.
A little.
And we have, according to my clock, we're online right now.
Perfect. We'll probably still give everyone a couple seconds here to log in. It normally takes folks a moment to get into the Zoom, and then I'll kick us off. Oh, and then maybe I'll close my email somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Nice attendee list. All the attendees, we're going to start in just a moment, so please stand by.
Oops, sorry. There we go. All right, everyone, we'll go ahead and get started here. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from today, maybe even good evening. Welcome to today's webinar, co-hosted by the New York Oracle User Group and Oracle partner Viscosity North America. Today's webinar is from our Oracle Level Up series, featuring product managers from the Oracle Enterprise and Cloud Observability and Management team. This is a live webinar, so feel free to submit questions in the Q&A field, and our speaker, Sravanth, will get to your questions as he can. He's also got several members from his team also helping out today, so even while he's speaking, you may get some live responses written back out. They are publicly shared with everyone, so you're able to submit them anonymously or with your own name on it. But take advantage of this hour while you've got all of these amazing folks from Oracle here today. This is a great resource for everyone here. So I'm excited to see some good questions. And yeah, get as involved as you guys can today. All right, so yes, it's a live webinar. Yes, it's being recorded. And yes, you'll have access to that recording after it's been rendered and posted. We'll let you know when that happens. And then hopefully Sravanth will also be sharing his slide deck with us or any other resources he may mention today during his presentation. All right, so my name's Monica. If you're not familiar with me yet from all these webinars we've been doing with the New York Oracle user group. I'm the marketing director here at Viscosity, and we are a full Oracle stack consulting firm. I'll tell you a little more about us in a bit, but first, Rob from New York Oracle user group is going to tell us a little bit about their group.
Hey, thank you, Monica. I'm Rob Edwards. I'm treasurer with the New York Oracle Users Group. NYOUG was formed in 1984 for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of Oracle software products. We also can be found on Twitter, Meetup, LinkedIn, Facebook, and on our own website, nyoug.org. Viscosity North America has been co-hosting these webinars with us for the last 3 years. Thank you very much. Monica?
Thank you, Rob. It's been a great 3 years too. So hopefully you guys have been tuning in with us for a while. All righty, so I'll take just a couple minutes here. If you're not familiar with Viscosity, we are going to be at Kscope next week, which is a big user group conference this year. It's out in Denver, so if you guys are there, feel free to stop by and say hi. I'd love to meet you in person. All righty, so real quick, Viscosity is built on these three main pillars: data, apps, and infrastructure. And across the bottom, you'll see items we offer across all three pillars. If anything here speaks to you, let me know. You'll get an email from me after today's webinar once the recording is uploaded. And so you'll have my contact information if you do need anything. Lately, we have been prepping our clients for 23C after moving them all to database 19C. And we also host workshops and live webinars and classes through www.orapub.com. Our core expertise has been in Oracle database, including RAC, Oracle Apex. We perform near zero downtime migrations for our customers. We offer performance tuning and high availability consulting. We've also got decades of experience with infrastructure, including engineered systems. We were named Partner of the Year for Oracle Database Appliances. And on this slide, you'll see some of my colleagues, and they are some of our speakers and consultants and our executive management. You'll see them at conferences, webinars. Maybe you own some of their books. They're constantly blogging, and they speak all around the world. And they're part of the Oracle ACE program, which is a program from Oracle Corporation where they designate these titles, like I think it's 3 different tiers of titles, to non-Oracle folks, and they basically are folks that go out and help the Oracle community. They keep knowledge share alive and continue to get good information in your hands. Okay, on this slide, I just like to point out a couple things. Oracle License Management, if you guys need help figuring out what your organization needs, no more, no less, and you want someone to hold you accountable to make sure you're using your investment to its best, partners like Viscosity are always here to help you. We also do a lot of Oracle Apex development for our customers. And we also do a lot of cloud assessments and performance health checks. So if those are things, that you're looking at here in the future, let us know. This is a couple books I like to highlight that our staff has written. Newest ones are Oracle Database Performance Tuning, Upgrading Oracle Databases, and Oracle on Docker. You can find all of these online and probably on Amazon. All right, and finally, this is where you're going to go to rewatch today's webinar, www.orapub.com. NYOUG.org will also have it. This site, Orapub, is just where Viscosity houses every webinar we do with with consent of the presenter, we put the slide deck and the recording next to each other on here. And we also just have slide decks from every conference we go to and our folks present at. So there's tons of free stuff in here. There are paid membership tiers where you can actually get discounts on some of our live virtual classes. We do a lot of virtual classes where they're about 3 days long, probably about 4 hours a day. Normally your employer will reimburse you for things like that, but lots of things to check out there. We're super excited to have AuraPub as a part of the Viscosity family as of January 2022. If you're familiar with Craig Shalahammer, he is actually the creator of AuraPub, and now he and Katrina Shalahammer are part of our team. So they're awesome folks. This is kind of the brainchild of them and many years of hard work, and now it is part of Viscosity's training arm. So go check it out if you haven't already. And again, I'll be over at Kscope in Aurora. It's at the Gaylord, like 10 minutes from the Denver airport. But if you're around, come by, say hi. If you live in the area, come to my party. Just email me back tomorrow and I'll send you an invite. But I do hope to see all of you around at something in person this year or next. I'm pretty much at almost every user group or open or Cloud World conference. So stop by, say hello. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Rob, who's going to introduce our speaker for the day.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Sravanth is a senior product manager with the Oracle Observability and Management team. Sravanth, it's yours.
Thank you very much, Rob. Let me start sharing my screen. I also have with me Harini, who is the Director of Engineering with Observability and Management, and they are joined by Bhagyaraj and Harmit, who are also with the engineering team. They'll be available for your Q&A. So during the session, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in your Q&A chat. So let me start sharing my screen. And I hope you guys are able to see it. So again, hello everyone. Welcome to today's session on hybrid database as a service. So in this session, we will learn how customers can establish database services on top of any infrastructure to achieve a higher consolidation. We will also look at ways how to use database as a service to quickly deploy and standardize to meet your application requirements. We will also look at how to gain a technical insight to build a DevOps enabled environment for application owners so that they deploy databases on their own via a self-service. And finally, this session will also explore use cases on instant cloning of large databases with more than 90% savings on your storage. So let's jump right into it. As we all know, infrastructure transition to cloud is underway, and most enterprises currently have mixed or a hybrid IT with some applications running in the cloud and others still on-premise, in your traditional data centers. And over time, as more and more IT assets move to the cloud, enterprises will continue to be in a state of mixed IT for a very long time. So Enterprise Manager is focused on 3 key areas. So starting with the hybrid cloud management, customers need to be able to manage their entire IT estate across on-premises and the cloud from the same solution. So forcing you to manage on-premise environments in one way and the cloud environments in a completely different way could probably create operational and data silos. And it is inefficient and also sometimes error prone. So the next focus area is ops automation. So we continue to enhance automation to allow for faster problem resolution, better compliance, and security. So it's difficult to operate at cloud speed if you have to perform a lot of manual operations, right? So the more you automate your operations, the better the quality of service you can provide. And finally, we'll talk about the extensibility and the resilience factor, where we enable you to operate across environments that are constantly changing and support many different technologies. So in addition, enterprises deploy multiple tools for managing and monitoring purposes. So it is therefore important that all the tools that you use in your in your environment are extensible and also interoperate well within the same ecosystem. And Enterprise Manager fits right well in this space. Enterprise Manager enables hybrid cloud management. You can manage your software assets with Enterprise Manager no matter where they are deployed. It could be on-premise, Oracle Cloud, or other third-party clouds using the Enterprise Manager agent. So if you're running your database on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure or OCI, we have new target types that are cloud aware, such as target types for your autonomous database, Exadata Cloud Service, or even Exadata Cloud Customer, which is referred as XSCC, right? And for lifecycle management operations, we integrate with OCI APIs, such as startup, shutdown, backup, and so on. So with Enterprise Manager, you can manage all these environments using the tools that you've used for years. And there's no need to reskill or learn a new tool whenever there's a new environment. Your existing best practices, scripts, and jobs which you've applied can be applied in both your environments equally. And database as a service has been a feature with Enterprise Manager's cloud management pack for quite some time. And we are now extending it support the hybrid cloud environments as well. So you can use these capabilities to do a self-service provisioning of your new databases on Oracle Cloud Compute, or it could be your VM or a bare metal one. It could also be an Exadata Cloud, as well as the other public clouds. So once you have established connectivity between your on-premise and OCI, you can use the same REST APIs to provision and manage databases on-premise and in the cloud. Now, let us look at the overview of Cloud Management Pack. So using Cloud Management Pack, you can set up your database private cloud and operate database as a service and pluggable database as a service, which we commonly refer as PDBAS, over your consolidated resources. And we support on physical, virtual, engineered systems infrastructure, which is your Exadata, XSCC, and also Oracle Cloud Compute Services. We also have an out-of-the-box self-service portal that allows self-service users to access these cloud services with very minimal intervention. And you can also adopt a DevOps model of operation using tools like Ansible, REST API, EMCLI to perform your database operations. And we also have a storage agnostic snap clone function feature is supported on almost all database offerings, including Exadata and Exadata Cloud Customer. Now let us take a minute to understand the key features and the benefits of these cloud management pack. So the out-of-box self-service portal, which I was talking about, it allows you for a self-service user to access your cloud database services like provisioning or cloning without the intervention of your IT teams. And it is supported, as I mentioned, it is supported on multiple platforms, physical machines, virtual Exadata systems, and also Oracle Cloud. And a self-service user can provision a new database or a pluggable database using the predefined templates from the service catalog. And the cloud management pack also helps in governance of resources through control, quota, and also metering capabilities. And we also have a comprehensive REST APIs for initiating any of the cloud management operations via orchestration engines and also via DevOps tools like Ansible, Terraform, and so on. So what are the benefits of leveraging this pack, right? So as you see it on the screen here, it helps in improving the quality of service, the performance and security of the cloud. And organizations can also enforce a unified identity and security across their infrastructure. So thereby, instead of bolting on this the security policies after the deployment, these policies and compliance regulations are, it can be induced as a part of the provisioning process itself. So next up is the speed with which you can do your deployments. So it also helps in faster deployment of your new workloads. And this can be achieved by building the cloud infrastructure using the standard building block, the components, what we are going to talk about in the upcoming slides. And talking about the resource elasticity that it offers, so it provides the ability to grow and shrink the capacity of a given database. I mean, like when I say grow and shrink, both in terms of storage and compute, right? So, and this can be done based on your demand. And this allows applications the flexibility to meet the dynamic nature of your business workloads. And by utilizing the self-service infrastructure, databases can be rapidly provisioned, thereby it provides you a very good agility in your application deployments.
Sravanth, there's actually two other benefits that come to mind. Being a DBA myself, I always had developers that needed yet another environment, and they would come to me, I would set it up for them, and by the end of the day, they'd come back and they had destroyed the environment for testing reasons, and they wanted me to create yet another environment. And so I was practically working for every developer, having to recreate the environments. And so that was one of the benefits I found in this particular solution, was being able to give them the self-service capability so they didn't have to bug me anymore. Now, the other one was when I had 50 or more databases, my goodness, the amount of time, and I did a time study. I actually sat down and I looked for my manager and I said, hey, these are all the things I'm doing manually. I'm doing these with scripts. And I added up that amount of time. And then I compared it to, for instance, the cost of licensing the pack. And it was actually very surprising, the amount of time that I was spending doing those activities far offset the cost of actually the pack. So I think that's the other thing folks should look at. If you've got a lot of databases, you may be surprised at how much time you or peers are spending just on those kind of two activities.
Great. Yeah, like those are fantastic points, Steve. Definitely, it definitely helps with the scale. If you have a lot of databases and if you're doing a lot of operations manually, then there are definitely a lot of benefits that one can actually take from the cloud management pack. Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks for covering that. So as enterprise manager has we've talked about the unified interface, which helps you manage all your database assets created across your hybrid multi-cloud platform, right? And this could be spanned across different environments. And as you can see on the screen, you can have resources in your Oracle or any other public cloud, and you could also have it on your Exadata cloud, and also continue to have your database resources on premise as well. So user provides an option to consolidate and provide a unified view to manage these databases. And by deploying database as a service, you can enable your self-service users to leverage the templates which you create in your service catalog to provision new databases on your hybrid multi-cloud environment. And once you have established your connectivity between on-premise and OCI, you can use the same REST APIs to provision and manage databases both on-premise and in the cloud. So it's like one self-service user interface using which you can deploy new databases on demand, and you can also update at scale with very minimal efforts. So to keep it a little more engaging, I would like to continue this session in the form of multiple scenarios. We will focus on 4 typical customer scenarios here. Firstly, let us understand more about hybrid PDBAS, pluggable database as a service, its architecture, and the benefits and the key components that are involved in it. And secondly, we will look at the self-service portal itself, which is a simple yet very powerful interface, which provides a role-based access to deploy your new database resources. And we will move on to take a look at the database DevOps model of operations using tools like Ansible, like your REST APIs, and also the EMCLI to perform all database operations. And finally, we'll touch base about the storage agnostic snap clone functionality. How can you create functional copies of, say, very large databases with very minimal storage, and and very minimal time that is required for you to clone. So let's jump right into it. First, let us try to understand what is hybrid pluggable database as a service. So by now, you already know that using Enterprise Manager, you can create a private cloud platform over a consolidated resources, right? And these resources can vary across different environments. Like I had mentioned, it could be on-premise data center, your OCI DB system, or other public clouds as well. So using this infrastructure, you can create a pluggable database as a cloud service over this consolidated resources. This is what we refer as hybrid pluggable database as a service. So PDBAS brings in like a very good agility, and it also exponentially reduces the human efforts involved in your database provisioning. So this reduces the time and manual errors involved in commissioning and decommissioning of your database services. In fact, Enterprise Managers DBAS today supports different kind of database configurations across different service tiers, and it can be set up across a very wide range of infrastructure, ranging from commodity servers to a purpose-built engineering systems. So now that we have seen what is hybrid pluggable database as a service, let's try to understand some of its key benefits, right? So in the traditional model, database administrator provisions a database based on like a request. So DBAs act only when there is a request for a new database, right? So this includes provisioning of all the underlying infrastructure and the resources necessary to deploy and manage their databases on premise. So DBAS provides a cost-efficient and a resizable capacity, right? So it also automates a lot of time-consuming tasks like hardware provisioning, database setup, the patching processes, your backups, and so on. So by consolidating infrastructure across your data center and cloud, you reduce the complexities for IT in terms of maintenance. In fact, you can also scale up and also scale down the resources based on your demand. And based on the predefined standardized templates, a self-service model enables an application owner to deploy his or her database as and when they need it. And by leveraging the REST APIs, you can automate the end-to-end deployment and other functions like cloning, patching, upgrade along with your provisioning. And this consolidated resources utilization and on-demand provisioning, and also your automation desires will lead to a very optimal utilization of your resources. And this will have a direct positive impact on your CapEx and OpEx. And most importantly, it is faster time to market for your new business applications. And Enterprise Managers DBAS has been successfully adopted by several large-scale enterprise customers, and it has been successful in saving thousands of DBA hours. And in fact, they have reduced DB provisioning time from months to, in fact, a few minutes. And quickly talking about some of the advantages, like talking about the efficiency that it provides. The resource consolidation results in a very higher DB density parameter, resulting in effective use of your compute and memory resources. And the resource caging functionality can be implemented by defining different DB sizes, ensuring that each instance consumes only limited number of resources without impacting the performance of other DBs that are also using this resource. And from an accessibility point of view, you have your Enterprise Manager self-service portal, which provides easy accessibility of service, ensuring a fair resource consumption within the quotas that you define for that particular user. And the cloud framework abstracts the resources from DB services, thereby making it quite elastic enough to add more resources as the demand increases. And we also have the accountability factor, where we have features like quota, metering, and chargeback, which ensures that the resource consumption which a particular application or a particular group is used is accounted for and can be monitored at different levels in a given organization. And finally, we have the integration factor, wherein the REST APIs and the EMCLI interfaces makes it easy to integrate Enterprise Managers DBAS with third-party tools like VMware, vRealize, ServiceNow, and so on. So we have now established what is hybrid pluggable database as a service. So what are the benefits of it? So let us see how do you go about deploying this cloud platform for DevOps users to use it. Let's look at the role of a cloud database administrator who's responsible for deploying the cloud platform, right? So the first step would be to create the PaaS infrastructure zone. The PaaS infrastructure zone is more like a virtual group of consolidated compute resources. And once that is done, the next step would be to create a pluggable database pool. And once you create that zone and the pool, you go about defining the quotas for each self-service user. And once you've established all this, you create various required service template based on your requirements. So service templates are like standard deployment procedures for each database operation. And you also configure chargeback plan, and then you configure the request settings. We will look in more detail about each of this and about like what is chargeback, what is the request setting in the upcoming slides. And once these steps are addressed successfully, you will have the cloud platform ready for consumption. And with this in place, now a DevOps user comes into picture wherein you like he or she can get into the self-service portal to select a template from the catalog, configure the database with inputs like size, username and password, and the zone in which they want to deploy. And they can also choose how long they want to have this database. You could also add some unique tags, and you could go ahead with the deployment. And that is it. Your database creation process is done. And once completed, it is ready for use. Now, let us take a minute to understand about each of these components in a bit more detail. Starting with the zone, it is more like a group of related compute resources which are virtually grouped together. This could be based on location, your operating system version, or the cost center. And it can also be spanned across your on-premise, Oracle Cloud, and also other public cloud. So typically a zone can cover, like it could be like for a department or possibly like a small data center within your organization. And you can also go about creating metrics that shows the aggregate utilization for each particular zone. And talking about the pluggable database pool, like a pool contains a group of CDBs that can be used to provision a pluggable database instance within a PaaS infrastructure zone. So the CDB targets should be homogenic in nature and should be of the same major version. I'll say, for example, here, you can group a 19.10 version and a 19.12 version database in the same database pool. But including a 18C version might not be possible. So this is to maintain a homogeneity inside any given database pool. And talking about quota, quota is like the amount of resources that can be granted to each self-service user belonging to a certain role. And say, for example, you might have a sales application team, right? And you have to limit them not to use beyond a certain value. So you use quota for that. So it is not required for the initial setup, but you can always configure it at a later point in time also. And talking about the service templates, service template is like a predefined standard logic, which will be used to deploy a database resource. And a service template defines the characteristics of that particular instance, right? So these characteristics may be specific to parameters. So when a user asks to create an instance of a certain type, he chooses from the list of available service offerings and provides the inputs that are mandated. And these are the ones which are essential for creating a database. I'm talking about request setting. So basically you can add an approval layer to provision database. Along with this, you can also define the duration for how long you need this PDB to be there. So say, for example, like you have a developer who's trying to put in a request to provision your PDB. You could add an approval layer where it could go to a development manager, or it could be your administrator who will approve that request, and then the provisioning or the particular action will take place. So this is an optional layer which is available. And then talking about chargeback, the purpose of chargeback is to gather data on the resources that are used and allocate charges for that particular use. And you could present the results in a very in a very comprehensible format. So chargeback is used to allocate the costs of your IT resources to the people or the teams that have actually consumed it, right? So it is particularly relevant in situations where resources are shared. And as without like a proper way to meter and charge for consumption, there'll be a tendency for users to allocate or use more resources than they need to, right? So chargeback comes in very handy in situation where resources are shared across different teams. And increasingly, organizations are adopting consolidated platforms. It could be like Oracle Exadata or Exalogic, where multiple applications run on the same hardware platform. So thereby, to have a way to meter the resources consumed by each application, so charges can be applied accordingly. So this in turn helps in measuring the business value of the IT investment that goes behind that application, and thereby you could also probably calculate your return on investment on that particular application. So role-based access control is another important feature. So let us try to understand this with an example. So in the PDBAS cloud setup, starting from the right of your page, you could first create a cloud administrator. This user will have the EM cloud administrator role and will be responsible for creating your PDBAS infrastructure, including system storage and other administrative activities. Further, you can create a SSA admin user. This user will have the privilege only on the database service offerings, like defining quotas, creating service templates, and so on. And moving on to the left side, from the SSA user perspective, you can create multiple custom roles. Say, for instance, you might have two zones, one for the sales team and other for the marketing team, right? And you don't want the users to step on each other's toes while consuming the resources. So you can create target specific users as well. So you can also fine tune it at a service template level, where only certain users will have access to provision PDB, and certain users will have privilege to certain specific actions only. This can be customized at every role level. I'll talk a little bit more about service templates here, because it plays a very important role in customizing your PDB as a service. So you can standardize the service offerings by creating catalogs for different type of databases, like it could be a single instance, rack, or a multi-tenant. That way your IT department can take advantage of it. And with service definitions, you can define service tiers to simplify your offering. And you establish your technical footprint for each service tier, and you could refer it as small, medium, large, or based on the memory and the compute that you associate to it. And you could also go about creating database service tiers. It can be like, say you want to provision a 19C PDBs on a particular pool of Oracle VMs. You could go about creating that as a service offering, service tier, and you could name it as, say, probably Platinum, right? And you could do the similar thing. If you want to provision a 19C PDBs on a pool of Exadata, you could create a service template for it, and you could probably call it Silver. I mean, like the naming conventions can vary, but like the goal is to create a common task using which your teams can take advantage of. And you can also create templates for creating 19C pluggables on, so it could also be XRCC, right? Because we support on XRCC, and you could probably name it as Bronze, so on and so forth. So basically, using service catalogs, you can create a collection of standardized services which are available to selected consumers, and it can be used on demand, and it is like a self-service provisioning. And quickly talking about some of the key benefits here. You can establish and enforce effective standardization across your environment using service templates. You can create repeatable and predictable deployment processes. And the solutions can be very instrumental in identifying the service cost, and it can be associated against a particular application or a team. And it also helps in reducing the database management overhead. Now, let us talk a little bit of self-service portal. So let us take a look at the different options and features available for users from self-service portal. The screen on your left the screenshot on your left is a sample screen which shows the options available when you are trying to create a service template. You can create a template for an empty PDB provisioning. You can also create a template for creating a PDB using a data profile from a different database. And you could also create a template using which an SSA user can create a profile of an existing PDB. And you could probably restore it like at a future point in time. So basically, when creating a template, the placement of PDB can be chosen by a placement algorithm, or the user can also manually choose in which PDB they wish to create this PDB. So you can also customize your initialization parameters. And we also have an option where you could also run few custom pre and post scripts. This could be your database hardening scripts or any organizational standard scripts that you want to run whenever the database is provisioned. You could probably include them in this pre and post scripts. That way, whenever you created, whenever any user creates a database, these pre and post steps are executed by default. Now, the screenshot on your right shows the options for a self-service user for provisioning a PDB. So the expected inputs are very minimal. So this is with an intention to keep the provisioning process simple for any DevOps user. Also, they have the options to create it for a certain period of time or indefinitely till the administrator or the user decides to delete it himself. So Enterprise Manager self-service portal can act like a single point of access for self-service users for requesting, monitoring, and managing different kind of database services available via your service catalog. And using a self-service portal, users can create a non-container database, a container database along with PDBs, empty PDB, or even PDBs with data. And SSA users also have the option of deleting it and restoring it from backup. And this screen shows the various resources which can be provisioned by an SSA user. So after the resources is provisioned, self-service user can also perform a lot of administrative tasks on the resources. So as a self-service user, you're just you're not limited by only to provisioning. You can also go ahead and act upon administrative tasks as well. So they can resize the PDBs. There is an option to scale up and scale down the size of databases. So if you look at generally most cloud providers only provide you an option to scale up, but scale down is generally a tedious process. But using Enterprise Manager's self-service portal, SSA users can easily scale up and also scale down with a very few clicks. And the performance monitoring tab helps in identifying any sudden spike in your resource consumption and acts as an input for your chargeback feature, which we discussed earlier. There is also access to the resources usage tab, which you see as a third icon there, which monitors the usage against the expected workload, thereby leveraging. So basically, you could define it saying that if a user is using a sales database, you could create a expected workload, and if the workload goes beyond that, you leave the decision of scaling to the end user. And another important feature available for SSA user is the ability to patch and update the databases, your pluggable databases, right? So in this context, fleet maintenance is integrated its functionality with Cloud Management Pack, which enables building out private cloud for self-service users to deploy databases on demand. So if you are using orchestration engines like ServiceNow or VMware, you can also you can call into the fleet maintenance APIs to patch and upgrade your databases here. So there are many other interesting use cases which you can achieve using self-service portal. So one such is the ability to onboard an on-prem database target to DBAs using your built-in functionality, which we have in Enterprise Manager. So let's say your business has a requirement to move your on-prem PDB to PDBAs and also require to upgrade this PDB to a newer version. By leveraging the relocate capability, you can move the PDB from on-prem CDB to a CDB in your DBAS. So basically, you are essentially moving the PDB to a new CDB here. And if you want to upgrade this relocate PDB to a newer version and also move to another CDB, you can use the built-in upgrade functionality that can be leveraged. And so basically, if you look at this slide, in summary, you have basically onboarded an on-prem PDB to a cloud CDB, and you have upgraded the PDB to a newer version during this process, and you've moved it to another CDB. Or like it is not necessary to always move to a different CDB. You could also stay within the CDB. So the intention is to show the different features that are available, other interesting features and use cases that are available using self-service portal. So administrators can also grant a specific role optionally for the self-service users and allow them to navigate to the actual database homepage, the Enterprise Manager database homepage. They can also control what actions SSA users can perform from the homepage also. So we're not restricting the SSA users only to the self-service portal alone. With if your administrator can leverage a few roles, and he can also grant these roles to your SSA user to perform your actions on your homepage as well, Enterprise Manager homepage as well. So you can grant specific roles in the service template to a PDB administrator that allows your SSA user to perform the specific actions on your databases. So example here shows how you allow SSA user to manage table spaces for their databases. So as an administrator, you can grant EM all viewers role to a EM to EM menus and grant DBA privileges so that they could allow to edit or existing table space, or you could also create your new table spaces. Now let's talk more about automation, right? So till now, what we have seen is we have seen what is hybrid multi-cloud, what are the building blocks that are used in creating this hybrid multi-cloud. We have tried to understand about pluggable database as a service, the different use cases which database administrators can perform, the options available for self-service users. We have also understood about patching and database, patching a database using self-service portal. And now let us take a look at automation that can be built around these. As IT deployments become more and more complex, automation using REST APIs is becoming more relevant these days to address concerns like standardization, the speed of deployment with which you could do, and the ability to provide customization, and so on. So cloud management provides REST APIs, and we have a very comprehensive interfaces here. So depending on your requirement or practice in your data center, you can leverage either of it to perform repetitive end-to-end deployment operations. And if you have DevOps tools like Ansible, Puppet, or Terraform, you can call into these REST APIs for deployment operations. So there are a few customers who use third-party orchestration engines. So these engines cater to other database vendors too. So if your data center also has that kind of a model, whether you have engines like VMware, vRealize, or it could also be ServiceNow, or for the matter of fact any other third-party provider, you can definitely leverage these REST APIs there. So here are a list of some key APIs for database operations that can be performed in your hybrid cloud environment. We have APIs that span across the complete lifecycle of database management. So we have APIs to manage your build and your cloud infrastructures, including operations like where you can manage your patch zones. If we have APIs to manage your PDB pools and all the other building blocks which we discussed earlier. So there are also dedicated APIs for provisioning, patching, backup and restore as well. And all these APIs are both available at the administrator level and also the self-service user level. So you can use it based on your necessity and the use case which is more relevant to you. So here is an example use case. Let's say you have a PDBAS environment and you have enabled SSA user to provision a PDB using service template. You could build automation using our REST APIs along with Ansible, where a SSA user could request a PDB almost instantly using the Ansible environment which is available. So Enterprise Manager takes care of the pre-checks, it validates for the best practices, and it provisions all these configurations in a secure, automated, and in a very controlled fashion. So here you can see a sample snippet of PDB provisioning template using REST API and Ansible. So these templates can be customized to provision PDBs of desired version and the patch level. And the workload and the placement of your PDBs can be decided based on your requirement. You can also use the APIs to build automation of PDB management as well. So the REST APIs are available for delete, shutdown, startup, backup and restore, and and so on. So using this REST API, you could build automation. Say, for example, you might want to build a use case where you want to shut down your database every weekend and you want to bring it back only the start of the business hours on a Monday. So, or it could be any other similar use case, right? You can use this framework to achieve this particular or this kind of use cases. So on the screen here, you can see the list of REST APIs, which are available for both administrators and the SSA users. So as an administrator, you have REST APIs to create and manage the complete hybrid cloud environment. And as a SSA user, you have an option to create and manage the lifecycle of the database resources that you have created. So now let's spend a minute or two to quickly understand about the fleet maintenance REST APIs, which can be used along with the hybrid cloud environment. So in the fleet maintenance REST API, we have grouped it into different categories. The first one comes under the image and subscription category, where you have REST APIs for creating your gold image and subscribing your targets. And then we have from the subscription point of view, wherein you can use REST APIs to list all the subscriptions for a given particular image. And you could also validate the subscriptions. And talking from an operational category, right? So it is mainly focused on deploying the image, and it is either, it could be updating or upgrading the targets. So fleet maintenance also supports data guard and grid infrastructure management. You can leverage APIs to automate rolling and non-rolling mode patching in a data guard configuration. And for grid, you can also subscribe or deploy a grid targets. And once that's done, you could update or upgrade your grid infrastructure using the REST APIs or the UI as well. Now let's talk a little bit about SnapClone. So database administrators face the challenge of efficiently cloning their large mission critical databases to support the continuous demand by application teams. And it is more challenging given the fact that multiple clones are often required for each production database. And in order to support the ongoing development, and mostly these requests are always associated with very large production databases, right? And it is also important that we have to make sure that the cloning process does not have any impact on the production databases, like where it hampering your performance of your production database. While a basic method of creating a clone is to restore a database from a recent backup, it is quite obvious and like how such an approach is sometimes inefficient, and it gets a little time consuming, especially when you're dealing with databases which are hundreds of gigabytes, and sometimes we also see databases which are terabytes in size. So without an effective or efficient solution for cloning production databases, so enterprises are consumed with an with a humongous administrative burden overhead that diverts their attention from a more critical support to these kind of activities. And not just that, it also increases the storage consumption. Like if you're trying to clone, say, like a database of a terabyte of size, you end up letting go of a big chunk of, say, 500 or 600 GBs of size of your storage, and which eventually leads to a very higher cost. So SnapClone allows administrators to create functional copies of databases using the copy on write capabilities of the underlying storage layer. So some of the high-level steps include identifying the production database that has to be cloned, taking periodic backups using RMAN backups, masking the data to your test master database, and you create the full clones for performance or the stress testing, and you start refreshing the clones to keep them in sync with a change in whenever there's a change in the production databases. So there are numerous benefits with Enterprise Manager's SnapClone feature. So it takes minutes to clone a terabyte, like a terabyte-sized database, and definitely the potential storage saving is north of 90% in these cases. and it supports multiple options for using and interacting with storage. And the cloud administrators can manage the complete lifecycle of your resources, including capturing data on demand, as well as refreshing the data. So the key takeaway here is Enterprise Manager provides you an ability to create a snap clone. It could either be from an administrative dashboard or from a self-service portal, and it is instant cloning, and the space required is very minimal, even if the database is huge in size, and the storage needed is storage agnostic, and your production database is refreshed very quick, and you can also have the ability to mask your sensitive data. So at the storage level, Snap Clone accesses the underlying storage technology, such as copy on write or a similar technology to perform the required tasks. So as you see it on the screen, from a solutioning side, it can be categorized into two. It could be a hardware solution or it could be a software solution. So it's currently certified for ZFS and NetApp storage appliances. And this method enables storage administrators to register storage appliances within your enterprise manager and then directly connect to the storage appliance. And a Snap Clone provides the ability to create your live thin clone of your databases on your ASM, on your EMC storage. And talking about the engineered system, a Snap Clone on Exadata leverages sparse disk groups and provides a fast and space-efficient snapshot database creation. And integration with Oracle database multi-tenant enables you to create DB snapshots with a very few clicks. And quickly summarizing again, a Snap Clone, which is like a storage agnostic approach to creating rapid and space efficient clone of large database, is now extended to Exadata Clouded Customer as well, which is commonly referred as ExaCC. So if you're an ExaCC customer, you can also utilize this fast and storage efficient clone technology on your pluggable databases, which you provision on your ExaCC environment. And with the Exadata sparse clone functionality, which we just spoke, you can create your space and time efficient clones of your snapshots within very few simple steps. You first step, you create your sparse disk group on your Exadata storage. You register that disk group with your enterprise manager. Then you go by creating snapshot databases or your snapshot PDBs that read from the base read-only copy of your DB and writes to the sparse disk group. So since we are using disk groups on Exadata storage, all the Exadata features will work as expected on the snapshot database as well. So quickly talking about some customer references here. So here's a glimpse of a few customers who are power users of our cloud management. There are a lot of others, but we with the interest of time, we're talking only about a few of them here. We have an American financial customer, which has an inventory as big as 8,000 plus databases and a very good footprint in Exadata and Exadata Cloud as well. They have adopted the hybrid cloud management to ease their OpEx and CapEx, and also automate database provisioning without compromising their industry and organizational configurations and compliance standards. And in fact, we also have a telecom operator in the Europe, Middle East market, which has a very significant customer base. They are also a power user of Cloud Management Pack. And after successfully implementing hybrid cloud, they were able to bring down their provisioning time from 4 days to minutes. And they have also achieved significant cost saving by consolidating resources across their environments. So, and finally, there are a lot of resources available to get into the details of each of these solutions. So here are links to some of the collaterals. So the slides will be shared. You can pick up the URLs from here, and all the scenarios that we just spoke about. We have their own live labs, and this is the QR code for that, which will take you to the live labs page. And I highly recommend all of you to try out these live labs to get some hands-on experience. And I think that is it. Thanks, everyone. So this is a high-level introduction to the various capabilities available in Enterprise Manager's Cloud Management Pack. and the features and benefits what we offer from pluggability as a service. Thank you for your time. So now I'll hand it over back to Rob.
Well, Sravanth, just real quickly, you had a number of questions come rolling in. And so we've tried to produce some links right there in the chat for folks. Certainly a lot of content was covered today. Wonderful job. In general, there was questions about, capabilities related to licensing, and that is certainly one of the reference URLs that we always try to provide. I think one of the biggest things probably out of all of this, Sravanth, is you've covered now essentially as customers have deployed databases in more locations. In other words, traditionally on-premise, but as they started to put them in the cloud, multi-cloud, and these hybrid environments, the enterprise manager capabilities have continued to support those diverse deployments, helping customers automate and manage across those, correct?
That's right, Steve.
Great. Again, I know there's a lot of questions regarding some of the use cases in between cloud as well as traditional management. Certainly the upcoming event this week the team is doing will have a lot more information on this. But as I know we're running on time here, thank you everyone for all the great questions.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Sravanth. Very informative presentation this afternoon. For everybody else, we will be sending out the links for the video and the slide deck in the next day or so. Monica will give you the access to those media on their site, and we will shortly thereafter have those on the NYOUG.org site as well. So with that, everybody have a nice afternoon, and we'll be signing off.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.